And the Out of Bounds show is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. The official healthcare provider of the Out of Bounds show, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's also presented by Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, Philadelphia, Mississippi, Pearl River Resort. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-707-3750. And we're going to welcome in our friend, restaurateur, entrepreneur, author, and wearing many other hats right now with everything that we're going through in the country and the world. He is Robert St. John, straight out of Hattiesburg. RSJ, good morning. How are you doing?
Morning, Bo. Well, not the best time in the world to be in the restaurant business. Maybe a good time to be in the toilet paper business or the hand sanitizer business. But restaurant business, a little ghost town like now. We have 6 restaurants and 2 bars down here, and we're down to the last man standing doing curbside pickup and a little bit of delivery, and that's Tabella, our Italian restaurant. Crescent City Grill, our long-standing restaurant, had its last day for the foreseeable future yesterday. Several of the others. Purple Parrot, which we opened in '87, it closed first. And Branch, the cocktail bar there. Then I think Midtown Donut made it about 5 or 6 days after that. Ed's Burger Joint closed next, and then then Crescent City. So Tabella, we can run that with a very skeleton crew, and that's what we're doing. My 2 partners there are working 6 days a week. We're closed there today, but just kind of trying to make lemonade here with the situation we've been dealt in. It's nothing that no other restaurateur from Seattle to Miami and Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon are dealing with. They're all over the country. It's the same. It's unprecedented.
It is, and I can't imagine, what you've been through the last couple of weeks and many others, and we've taken a massive hit too. But there's 2 things that you and I are passionate about, and that's sports and breaking bread with people. And when you take that, when you take that away from people who are used to doing that when they want to do it, what an impact it has on us, Robert, because that's what people love to do is share food and conversation, which is the business you're in.
Yeah, and the sports thing, sports have always been around. Again, you can go back to Greek times. There's always been bread and circus. And then that's it. That's what it is. That's what they used to call it in the Roman times, bread and circus, when they were at the Colosseum. The bread was my end and the circus was your end. It's always been with us. And so now we're forced, certainly for the first time in 100 years or so in America, not to have any sports. And, and that's one thing I don't think about, Bo. You guys got to be stretching for stuff to talk about. There's nothing going on out there. On my end, I'm worried about my 300 employees, mainly more than anything. That's been my main focus from the start, is making sure I'm part of a group called the Independent Restaurant Coalition that was just formed less than 2 weeks ago with some pretty heavy hitters all from all across the country and me for some reason. And we've been hitting Washington up hard to make sure we take care, of all these people in this relief bill. And so all our team members, I feel pretty good about the first version of that that's coming out. I am one who typically does not want government involved in business.
Sure.
I'm pretty libertarian when it comes down to it. This is certainly a unique experience where the government has no choice. When the government is telling people not to go into restaurants, or the government's telling baseball it can't be played, that's a different story. And so, then government has to step in, and with our money, which are, it's our taxpayers' dollars. I think a lot of people
Sure.
are looking at that as Washington's money. It's not. So this economy that we had a month ago, which is the best in our history, the best in the history of the world, um, that's a good situation going into this. So to me, it's not like the Depression when the economy was bad and then unemployment got so big that then you're into a depression. We came into this thing with a roaring economy, and we're lucky that we can do this package. I would look for another package to come after this one,
I
though.
agree.
I'm not sure when things are going to come back. I've kind of given him, maybe this is a little too optimistic, but I had a meeting with my managers. I'm trying to stay in touch with everybody, but I think by the end of June, I would hope we're up and running. I've told my people be ready by mid-June, to start cranking them back up, and we're doing everything we can to keep our whole team together. That's been my goal from the start, is all 300 of those employees. I want to make sure they get taken care of during this period, and then we open back up as best we can. But the thing is, it's not going to be like when Prohibition ended, and there were big parties out in the streets, and everybody's, they're letting us out. We're getting the go-ahead. We're about to go party. That is not going to be that way in the restaurant and bar business. People are going to be spooked and scared.
Sure.
And it'll be a slow trickle back over the course of probably the next 6 months to get back to normal. So there's a long road ahead, but I'm doing my best to just try to live in the solution.
Sure.
That's all I can do. I'm not going to sit down and just sit on my pity pot or whatever and focus on the problem that's around me. The only part I need to worry about on the problem, and I would suggest everybody else do that, especially if you're in business, is take the problem and then figure out how to fix it in your industry and everything. That's pretty much the way my day goes nowadays. I was on a Zoom meeting earlier. I am getting to know Zoom like crazy. But I was on a Zoom meeting earlier with those folks in D.C., and I've got another one on some financial thing here in a little bit. But it's, if people will live in the solution and let's just not focus on the problem, look for the good things that have come out of this, and there have been good things. In my instance, my son, who was a freshman at Mississippi State, is now home with us. My daughter, who did her 4 years at Mississippi State, but now is at USM, is home with us. So we've got the four of us at home. It's very nice. We sit out on the front porch. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. And so I think when they look back on this time, because they were really young when Katrina hit, and Hattiesburg got hit pretty hard during Katrina. But they look back at my son, who I guess he was 4 maybe, he said, yeah, that was the time we all ate ham sandwiches in the den and slept in the den, and that kind of thing. So he has nothing but fond memories of that, and it was like hell for me because the second floor of one of my restaurants blew off. And but as far as he was concerned, it's when the family got together. And so I think that's what we'll take from this now.
You're jumping back on a call at 9:30.
Yeah.
I've got to take a break. Do you have 6 or 7 minutes after the break?
Yeah, come on, man. I'm good till about 9:28.
Okay, cool. We'll be right back. Robert St. John, restaurateur, entrepreneur out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, joining us on the Miller Lite guest line. You're listening to Out of Bounds on ESPN 105.9, The Zone, WRKS. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The show is also powered by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. It's National Doctors Day, and now more than ever have we needed our amazing healthcare workers, nurses, docs, techs, you name it. National Doctors Day. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Robert St. John coming up next.
Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
And good morning. Out of bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Robert St. John joins us. Restaurateur out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Robert joins us on the Miller Lite guest line. We're rolling on YouTube. You can watch the show. Search Out of Bounds Sports. If he answers the phone, we'll have Fred Smoot coming up next.
I'm glad I don't have to follow Fred. Thank you, Bo. I owe you something for that.
Oh, man. Hey, when all this is, when this passes, I just want to come down to your place and get some of that prime rib from Crescent City Grill. I mean, holy smokes, when I had that a couple of months ago, it was incredible.
We have done at Purple Parrot Crescent City Grill, mainly Crescent City Grill. We've been here 32 years, and prime rib has been on the menu from day one. It's one of those things a lot of restaurants
shy away from
do anymore. Yeah, and I'm not sure why. It's maybe it's not trendy enough or something like that. But we have always cook a ton. We slow cook a whole lip-on ribeye, slow cooked in a what we call an Altasham, which has a heating element on 6 sides, and it's just low and slow for a long time, and then we cook it rare. And we've been doing that. We use certified black Angus. I don't know how many. I don't know if it'd be tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands in 32 years we've done, but we go through a lot.
Well, it's fantastic.
And so what we'll do, Bo, is whenever we get the go-ahead from the government, we're gonna open this place up. I'm gonna call you down, and I'm gonna cut you about a 20-ounce prime rib, and we'll sit there and enjoy it.
I look forward to it.
That's the thing. I was just talking to a colleague of mine in this independent restaurant council, and what's going to happen is, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the earlier segment, but Restaurants aren't going to bounce back right off. It's going to be a slow comeback, and but it's not going to be like when Prohibition ended, and everybody's the liquor's flowing in the streets and the party's going on or whatever. People are going to be nervous. People are going to get into different habits. I think there'll be a little bit of cabin fever. They want to get out, but
Hmm.
the restaurant business and the bar business is not going to come back like it was. It's going to take months and months for that to happen. So
I would think it'll take a few months, and then the Christmas season you'll see, bam. But I don't know.
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah,
Pure speculation on my part.
yeah,
Um, I want to talk a little bit about Extra Table.
yeah. Thank you.
We're going to partner at some point. We obviously moved our charity event from May
Right,
2nd. We're going to
right.
do it at some point. So I thought it was amazing talking about turning lemons into lemonade, that what
Yeah.
you and your crew did the last couple of weeks. Would you walk our listeners through emptying out casinos and so on?
Yeah, and I'll give you a quick, just kind of primer on what Extra Table is. Extra Table is a nonprofit that I started 10 years ago based on business principles, really. We partner with Cisco and other food agencies. We use their purchasing power, we use their inventory system, and we use their transportation. So it makes it very, very efficient. We don't spend money on any of those things. We run a statewide charity with two people in a barred corner of my office. And so what we do is we raise money. And we use 100% of the money we raise for food to purchase food, and we're purchasing wholesale in bulk. And the last Wednesday of every month, we put together orders. We put them into Cisco and our other distributors. They load the trucks up and take them to these food agencies. There are a lot of food agencies across the state who are doing great jobs, but the problem is they're running out of food all the time. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. There are already people out there working hard to get in, and especially now, all of these places are seeing a surge. And people are coming in saying, I never thought I would have to come to a food agency to get a bag of food to help make ends meet. With you got single working moms. I grew up with a single working mom, but I never skipped a meal. And so the problem is real. Mississippi's number one in what they call food insecurity. We've got tons of kids who eat a school breakfast, school lunch, and then don't eat again until the next day. And that's not even happening now. There's some programs that are trying to bust kids' food. So, what Extra Table has been doing since this crisis hit, at first, we got with the Beau Rivage when they shut down and obviously had a lot of perishable food that they needed to get rid of. So Extra Table headed down. This is kind of beyond our typical scope. Typically, we raise money. We use that money to go through Cisco. We buy shelf-stable food, the food that they need, and also healthy food. It's low-fat proteins, low-sugar fruits, healthy grains, low-sodium vegetables, things like that. Chicken and tuna in full packages so kids can get those open easily after school. But Beau Rivage had massive amounts of perishables, a lot of produce, a lot of great food, proteins. They froze some, but we got, I don't know how many. We ended up stocking up 5 different agencies on the Mississippi Gulf Coast,
Wow.
and then went back the next day to the Hard Rock and to the Golden Nugget and loaded up food and delivered all that to different agencies the other day. We have worked with Salad Days Produce in Flora, Mississippi, which if you don't know that operation, you need to look into it because they raise amazing hydroponic lettuce out there, and it's a huge operation. And they were geared up to do normal business to sell to restaurants. And if you're a farmer, and this affects, we think about restaurants and we think about sports, but this has affected fishermen, this has affected farmers, this has affected everybody who supplies restaurants. The restaurant industry is the largest private independent industry in the country. It employs 15 million people. It's actually the second largest employer, period, next to the federal government. So the restaurant business impacts more people, but I got off a little bit. Salad Days produce there in Florida, they have massive amounts of lettuce right now. And if you want to drive out to Florida, you can drive out. You don't even have to get in your car, and they'll load your car with lettuce. You give them some money. Extra Table took one batch, because their business model a month ago was, keep lettuce coming in. And to do that, you've got to plant it, and then you've got several weeks for it to grow. So they were in the process when everything shut down. We've been getting that lettuce to different people. And then we cleared out the Cisco warehouse at the end of last Friday, and we filled up 10 U-Haul trucks and took that to, I believe, 9 different agencies from Jackson all the way to Laurel, Mississippi. And these people, we brought food into these agencies, and there were people crying that run these agencies who they're overwhelmed. A lot of them are operated on volunteer labor.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a lot of senior citizens who typically work in those places to just give of their time, and they don't even need to get out now. So they're short on labor. Everybody has changed their, standard operating practices and how they're handling food and things like that. So it's very safe, but, people are hurting right now. And until this government assistance comes in, which looks like it's 10 days to 2 weeks away still, people, some people are having trouble making ends meet. Most people in our state, I don't know the number, but it's got to be 60-70% are living paycheck to paycheck.
Sure.
There's nobody getting a paycheck right now.
Well, Robert St. John on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. What Extra Table has been doing for 10 years, but what y'all have done the last couple of weeks is simply amazing, RSJ. And I appreciate your time today, your honesty, and sharing your story. And we'll do this again soon. And y'all stay safe and be positive.
Bo, thank you. And if anybody wants to know, extratable.org is where you can go to help.
Extratable.org. Thanks, Robert. Be good, man.
Take care.
Robert St. John, restaurateur out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, doing remarkable, amazing things during this quarantine, feeding people all over the state of Mississippi. And that's extratable.org. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We think Fred Smoot coming up next.